With Uriah Hall showing up this week against Sean Strickland, we kind of remember back to his time in the Ultimate Fighter house. He actually, despite being one of the better known names that come out of the Ultimate Fighter, he actually didn't actually win the Ultimate Fighter that year. He lost to Kelvin Gastelum. So we decided to have a look and see who the best runner-ups from Tough are. We got a top 5 list. We'll actually have a bit more of an extensive, at the very least, a rankings for 15 to 1, and then a bit more of a detailed write-up for the top 5. But we'll go through the top 5 now and just kind of give you a bit of a taster for the article. Stoney, you want me to take the number 5?
Yeah, kick it off, Stats.
Perfect. We head to number 5 with Stephan Bonnar. Stephan Bonnar, obviously, in The Ultimate Fighter 1. Absolutely hilarious throughout the entire show. He had some great interactions with Diego Sanchez, Chris Lieben throughout that house, which was an absolute madhouse, by the way. He defeated Bobby Southwick and Mike Swick to meet Forrest Griffin in the finale, an event that has been talked about nonstop for the last 15 years. Speaking of close decisions, there actually wasn't too much media at the time reporting on decisions, so I actually don't know how the media scored that one, but he arguably won the fight. And because the fight was so amazing, because the fight was so close, Dana White said, screw the rules. You're getting a contract anyway. And they actually managed to secure Stephan Bonnar into the UFC at the time as well. He went on a bit of a tear, won 3 straight fights, lost to Rashad Evans and then Forrest Griffin a second time. And then later on in his career, he battled the greats John Jones, Anderson Silva before riding off into the sunset. Just for again, this is something that's very, very common with our lists, just the significance of Stephan Bonnar in the Ultimate Fighter 1 with that fight with Forrest Griffin. And then just a really good career post the Ultimate Fighter. That's why Stephan Bonnar gets number 5.
Yeah, tasty. Like that one a lot, Statman. At number 4, we have Kenny Florian. So one of the real colourful personalities of the UFC post-retirement, but also a phenomenal fighter in the cage. He went down to Diego Sanchez on the Ultimate Fighter 1 finale in 2005. He then went on to amass a 12-4 record DL in the UFC, which is no mean feat. The 4 losses he had come at the worst possible time. So 2006 for the vacant UFC Lightweight Championship against Sean Shirk. In 2009 for the UFC Lightweight Championship against BJ Penn. In 2010 in a UFC Lightweight title eliminator against Gray Maynard. And then in 2011 for the UFC Featherweight Championship against Jose Aldo. So what that tells me is he beat everyone he had to beat to get himself in a position to fight for the championship and just could never take that next step. But nonetheless, Kenny Florian comes in at number 4 on our list of all-time best runner-ups at Tough.
He did such a good job as well because he came in to the UFC. That was a middleweight fight. And he fought at middleweight, welterweight, lightweight, and then eventually featherweight. I'm pretty sure he's the first UFC fighter to fight across 4 divisions. Number 3 is the man that brought us here in the first place, Uriah Hall, one of the absolute most violent finishes the Tough House has ever seen. To get into the house, he broke Andy Enz's arm. He KO'd Adam Seller in one of the most terrifying knockouts in the UFC history. I think poor Adam Seller was unconscious for about 4 or 5 minutes in the cage. He broke Bubba McDaniel's face in 3 places and destroyed Dylan Andrews with ground pound. All 4 fighters he fought in the Ultimate Fighter house ended up in hospital after fighting him. Came into the finale with next level hype and was upset by his teammate in the house, Kelvin Gastelum, who was a $3.60 underdog heading into the fight night. He said that it affected his mental game to be fighting against a close friend of his. And then he lost his next bout in a really, really tepid affair with John Howard. No, not former Prime Minister of Australia,
Really?
John Howard.
Johnny Howard.
Good old Johnny Howard. The eyebrows got him.
Wonder what Johnny's doing these days.
After the John Howard fight, went 5-1 with huge finishes of Chris Lieben, Ron Stallings, Olawale Bangbosi, and Gegard Mousasi. And then he's just turned a 1-4 skid into a 4-0 run with 3 finishes heading into this main event. So a really, really kind of roller coaster career, but one of the most violent men we've ever seen on the Ultimate Fighter house. And very, very excited to see how it shapes up this weekend.
Who would you choose to win a fight between Australia's two John Howards.
Who's the other John
The
Howard?
actor one. Do you know the actor dude?
Oh, yeah.
Actor
Oh, well, I
dude or
reckon
Prime
John
Minister
Howard from Boston, the MMA fighter, would probably tear them both up.
Nah, disagree. No one's going to cut those brows. No Dr. Stoppage for old Johnny. They're too thick.
Thanks for special comments there, Snags. Phenomenal series, as you said, Uriah Hall had. He was the first pick, if I recall correctly. Statman, Calvin Gastelum was the last pick.
Yep.
So it was a huge upset, and Calvin Gastelum obviously went on to have a phenomenal career himself, so no mean feat there. Interesting story, just to digress. I sat next to Calvin Gastelum for UFC 159 to watch the two coaches go at it, Charles Sonnen and John Jones. And speaking of broken bones, there was a vicious toe break at Statman, which almost crowned our boy.
Seconds from disaster for John Jones.
Almost crowned our boy, the undefeated and undisputed 205 champ. Anyway, number two on the list. We go all the way back to this weekend, DL. TJ Dillashaw. Came in and he was on the Michael Bisping and Mayhem Miller, which was a phenomenal series from an entertainment standpoint. He went down to John Dodson in the finale, a TKO in the first round. Actually surprised they never ran that one back at some point during their careers, because Dodson got on a bit of a run, TJ got on a run. Obviously, we know how the story went with TJ. He went on to win the UFC Bantamweight Championship against Renan Barão. He defended it a couple of times against Soto, Renan Barão again, before eventually losing to Dom Cruz. He then regained that at UFC 217 against Cody Garbrandt, successfully defended, before he then dropped the flyweight debut and for the flyweight championship against the Triple C. Shout out to Punchlist. Henry Cejudo, before coming back and making a statement and crowning Stoney a two-time run-it-back champion against Corey Sandhagen on the weekend. So TJ, phenomenal career, obviously marred by a little bit of controversy, but no one can doubt the talent that the man possesses. And who knows, he may hold that belt for a third time. Time will tell. Statman.
I'm pretty confident that TJ Dillashaw ranks the crowning of you for a second season probably amongst his most treasured possessions.
I would hope so.
Yeah. Number one on this list is a champion, Rose Namajunas. So she made a name for herself in an Invicta, went 2-1 to begin her career, and picked up many Submission of the Year nominations for the Flying Arbor against Kathina Catron. She went 3-0 with 3 subs on the Ultimate Fighter. Alex Chambers, Joanne Calderwood, and Randa Marcos all went down within about, I think they were all under 2 minutes, under 2 rounds, sorry. And she made her UFC debut at 2-1, fighting for the strawweight title against Carla Esparza, which is just incredible pressure. But she did go on to lose by sub to Carla Esparza, but since then has received 5 finishes in 8 UFC wins. She's won her title twice by shocking KOs against Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Weili Zhang, both considered at the time to be the best ever fighter in the division. And she's the first women's champion to regain a lost title. Has not been done before. Likely a rematch with Weili Zhang or Carla Esparza on the horizon next, but we'll keep an eye on that one. But just an obviously incredible career from her. And she's still so young and she's still so developing. Her submission game is like always been a huge threat. But what we've seen recently in recent years is just a ton of power and technique coming in her striking as well. So she's huge and she's always going to be huge as well. So very, very excited to watch the future for Thug Rose.
Beautiful, boys. And that rounds out this week on Neds.